Hey, everybody, friends, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm your host, Maryann Roefaro. Oh, I am so grateful that you are still hanging in listening to these podcasts. You know what? This will be the last podcast for a little bit that you have to just listen to me, because the next podcast will have guests. Well, actually, one guest, Mary Schechter from the Intuitive Organization. Mary is absolutely awesome, so you'll want to wait for that podcast to come out, and you'll want to definitely listen. Mary is going to hang with me for 3 of them. So just want to remind you that if you want to correspond with me in any way, shape, or fashion, and get a note into this beautiful purple folder that I have so that I will read it and address, well, at least acknowledge everybody who sends me a note. I would just love that. And it's Maryann, P.O. Box 2, Camillus, New York, 13031. So, in a couple of podcasts ago, I asked you to contemplate something. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing real. So, have you thought about that at all? So, what are some of the real things that can't be threatened? Well, if love is real, then it can't be threatened. Our souls and the existence of our souls and the ability of our souls to continue to evolve and have free will, to have choice, that cannot be threatened. So think about the things in life that scare you, and if they can change or be threatened, then know that it's really not real. And the most important things in life are the things that can't change. So I want to continue to talk to you today about the self-mastery journey. As a reminder, self-mastery is that never-ending journey of self-actualization, self-awareness, understanding who we are, knowing that we are comprised of love, knowing that unconditional love is an act of being, and it's living in this world knowing that we are unconditional love. And unconditional love, if you've thought about it, unconditional love in motion means that we don't allow people to abuse us. We don't allow people to, use us as a doormat. We do get angry about things. We do get frustrated about things, but we bring love to situations instead of fear. And we acknowledge our divinity that resides within ourselves. And when we truly gain that wisdom and knowing that we're getting closer and closer to really understanding who we are and why we think the way we think and how we create our existence, well, then we have more control over our lives, and it's about the only thing we have control over, right? I mean, you just can't control another human, and you can't really control all the things that happen on a national, international, world plane. Did you ever think about how if we all took a trip, a group of us to Mars, I wouldn't say, well, I'm from Syracuse, New York. Oh, well, I'm from, here. We'd be Earthlings, right? We'd all be from Earth. Could you imagine what the conversation would be? So do you, so you're all from Earth? Do you, get along? Do you love each other? Can you imagine? Okay, back to the self-mastery journey. Nothing real can be threatened. When we die, we don't bring anything with us but the baggage that we carry within our souls. And remember, when we go to the other side, our souls combine with our beautiful spirits, and we are the only judges. We don't get judged from any higher power. We judge ourselves. So just remember that. Okay, I want to talk today about continuing that. So there were many things that we talked about as far as the elements of knowing that we're on the self-mastery journey and knowing that we're, how do we recognize that we're doing, being on this journey and what becomes easier. Well, life actually does take on greater ease. So in the self-mastery journey, life takes on greater ease because remember when we talked about structure and then we talked about spirit and how when you live in the world of structure, things can be difficult. You have to work very hard because you don't have anything working with you. But if you walk in spirit, then you've got an army of invisibles to help you in whatever fashion that you need. So really the self-mastery journey is about allowing spirit to have more involvement in your life, having your will be more aligned with the will of our Creator. And with that comes love and acceptance and tolerance and all that kind of stuff. So you might notice as you progress on your self-mastery journey that people apologize to you for things that don't register. And maybe they would have registered before, but they don't anymore. Why is that? Why is it that you don't get upset like you used to? Is it because you truly are aware of who you are? Is it because you don't take things personally anymore because you really know that everything's a reflection from the inside out, and so maybe that person's having a bad day and you just let it go? Do you focus on people's intentions instead of what their words are? Everybody has a bad day. Sometimes people say things that are hurtful in the heat of the moment. They can't take them away. They can't erase it. But you don't have to hop on that roller coaster and be part of that. You can just acknowledge that maybe it was a bad day, but their intentions are usually pure to be kind and loving. Everybody has bad days. And then impervious. Imperviousness is a real gift of self-mastery because what it allows you to do is not be bombarded by the moment-to-moment things that usually can upset a human being. You just look at things on a more global scale. Your predilection towards drama gets minimized. You recognize that the world has got a lot of beautiful people in it. It has a lot of people who aren't beautiful, people who aren't kind, people who are hurtful. There is darkness in this world without a doubt. And regardless of what source that darkness comes from, we know that there is a lack of love. And it usually comes from lack of self or a lack of exposure to anything different. And so we don't really know what's in the heart of all those people. We don't really know how people grew up and what they were told and what they believe. What we do know is that we are highly influenced as we grow by those people we love. And those people we love can be great, fabulous, smart, wonderful people who have the purest of intentions, who are kind and loving and generous and non-judgmental, or they could be very judgmental, and they could be hurtful, and they could be, all sorts of things that are not conducive to what would be like a happy life. But if that's all that you're exposed to, it's going to be difficult to pull yourself out of that. I know adults, very smart, well-educated adults, who have trouble letting go of things their parents did to them when they were young. Things that their parents said or did or, whatever. And so what that's doing to them is it's got baggage. It makes things heavy for them. And it's really doing them it has no purpose for them except to be negative energy, to have a negative effect on people. So regardless, you have to remember, everybody does the best they can with what they're given, okay? So parents do the best they can with what they're given. So no one can, take that away and erase that, regardless of how many times, even if a parent comes to that realization, apologizes, it's not going to take it away. And so forgiveness is vitally important because it will free the person who is forgiving. And like I've said many times before, it's not a two-way street. But people, as we grow, there are always people who have done things that may have hurt us or disappointed us. One of the things I learned many years ago was that I could not look at another individual, regardless of the relationship I had with them, close or far, and put my expectations or how I look at things on them, because surely you will be disappointed. You know, marriages, partnerships, they're tough. They take work, they take communication, and they go through many forms. Some of those forms are filled with joy, and some of those forms are not. The important thing is there's some foundation of friendship and love that can sustain through the tough times. But it is essential to acknowledge that forms of relationships change. And sometimes it's hard to deal with whatever form a relationship is in. So some people have completed whatever that journey was with that individual, and they do something different. Or they give it time, and they continue to evaluate, and they continue to work on it. But nonetheless, to put your expectations of you on another person will surely be a disappointment. I'll tell you this story once. At the cancer center, we used to have these monthly meetings of just employees. It was kind of almost like a little support group for employees. It went through various names like Schwartz Rounds, Heart to Heart, things like that. But the premise is that people got together and talked about things. There was usually a topic that was advertised, and then there was either a panel of people, maybe it had a physician, maybe it didn't. And one day, there was a discussion that a physician assistant had about a patient, a young man with testicular cancer. He was non-compliant. He wasn't coming to appointments, and he wasn't fulfilling the regimen of drugs. And it was at a point where this testicular cancer could be cured. And he could be in total remission from this and continue with a very long life. And this physician assistant, who was brilliant and beautiful and kind and loving, was struggling. And she was struggling because she could not understand how someone who could be cured would not conform to the expectations set forth by the medical community, by the norm. And I said to this individual, you are looking at this person's life like you would look at your own. We don't know. Maybe this person was extremely unhappy living on planet Earth. Maybe this was the gift of all gifts because it was an exit strategy of which they would have no guilt, in which they would just let it go. So we don't know what's in the hearts and minds of other people. But I know from the 66, almost 67 years I've lived, that the times that I have expected people to react the way I would react never works out, because we're all different. So just remember that in your self-mastery journey comes a revelation that everybody's doing the best they can with what they have, everything's in perfect order, and everything is always going to be okay. But what does that mean? Does it mean that someone who's diagnosed with a terminal illness is going to be cured? No. Does it mean that everything you want is going to come out the way it's supposed to? No. But what it means is everything's going to be okay. If that individual does pass, they'll pass into the most beautiful environment of pure love and peace. And sometimes we don't get everything we want because it's just not in the cards. But we have been given the gift to be able to deal with whatever those cards are with grace. So the self-mastery journey allows you step by step to be able to gather all of that and really bake it into your being. So you may also notice that there's kind of this oneness now that you used to hear about, but that you kind of feel. You may be out in nature and look at trees and take a deep breath and allow that sunshine to just hit the solar plexus right here under the rib cage, and allow that energy to just be vibrant within your body and make every cell come alive. And you may just say, hey, you know what, Spirit, I feel you. I get it. I get it. That's one of the most beautiful gifts of the self-mastery journey. In the self-mastery journey, negativity feels bad. So some people, they live in negativity, right? It's a vibration that feels comfortable to them. They're good in their muck. They feel good about it. But, as the self-mastery journey continues, you feel negativity from not only yourself, but other people pretty fast. And you don't like it. So you do whatever you need to release that. You know what else happens? There's less dogma and drama and, the whole negativity thing. Because spirit, you're developing this direct connection. The necessity for an intermediary becomes less essential because you understand that there isn't this hierarchy, that they aren't up here and you're way down here, that you're really all together as one. So that makes a big difference in how you put one foot in front of another. Because love commands the universe, remember, love commands the universe. Love commands the universe. As your self-mastery journey continues, you can understand that at a deeper level. And you can really switch out from fear to love much easier. You know what? Here's another thing. You put yourself number one. You take time out for yourself. You say no when you want to say no. And guess what? You don't really feel guilty about that. Why is that? Because you understand how important it is to take care of your human vessel along with its emotional, mental, and spiritual component, because they are completely intertwined while you are here on planet Earth. And it has to be a priority if you're going to give to other people. You know what else? You don't try to solve everybody's problems all the time. You really understand that some of those challenges put in their path are there to help them evolve, to help them grow. And you can't take that away. That's not your job. Your job isn't to fix that. Your job is to love and support. And you just know that you're not supposed to, take the boulders out of their path. You're supposed to teach them how to walk over them. You have more control over yourself. You have greater self-discipline and self-control. And you recognize there's an invisible army helping you to get there. So before you used to wonder, but now you really believe it. And not only do you believe it, you trust it. So when crap comes your way, you say, well, what am I supposed to learn from this? What's going on? And you become more positive even through the difficult situations. You have a greater tolerance for yourself and for others. We all make mistakes, right? Isn't that part of life? There are redirections of many sizes and shapes and flavors. Use them to learn and to grow. You know what else? You care less about what other people think, and you care more about what you think. Now, isn't that a toughie? That's probably towards the end of the self-mastery, right? When people can say things and you not care, or at least care less than you used to. You know what, too? Sometimes you feel healthier, like you're alive. Like, oh my gosh, this world is really beautiful with all of its yuck. It's wonderful. And you know what? You have fewer agendas and no hidden agendas. They're just out there. And you understand those faces of fear. You understand that negativity and anger and resentment, those are all manifestations of fear. And have you noticed it may take you a little longer to get angry? The fuse is longer, and it stays longer. And that's because you have a better understanding of who you are and that beauty within. So, what is the end game? Peace inside, love inside, greater coping with everything, and knowing that you are part of the I am presence, the oneness. I am love. I am oneness. So friends, Thanks for hanging with me. I really appreciate it. May the love of this universe and all that is good and filled with light fill your heart and every cell of your body to vibrate to the frequency of perfection where only health and wellness is sustained. And please, with all my love, please help me to make the world a better place, one person from the inside out. Much love to you.
Na 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 na.